You're listening to Creatives Crushing Anxiety, the podcast for online business creatives looking to minimize their anxiety and maximize their productivity through systems organization and time management. I'm your host, Dia Darling. Let's do this. Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Creatives Crushing Anxiety. Now today we're going to talk about 10 things to do in the new year to just basically make it a badass year. I don't even feel like I need to say it because everyone has said it a million times before that 2020 was interesting. It was definitely a opportunity for growth and a learning expedition, if you will. 2020 was basically not what any of us had necessarily expected, but we made it through. Well, almost. So I know that this is the time of year where people start thinking about their goals, what they want to achieve in the new year, and they have this whole like can-do attitude, which is great, but I know that a lot of times that falls off after some time. And there's an episode there I talk about your New Year's goals and like how we typically fall off on them, and I will link that in the show notes. But I want to share 10 things that you can do and incorporate into your days to make 2021 amazing, and then also just to get you on the right foot and to keep you really focused on what you're going to be doing. Now, the first thing is to get really, really clear on your goals. If you have been listening to the podcast for a while, then you know that I am all about goal setting. And I think part of what happens when these goals, like when people make these goals for the New Year's and they don't happen, is that they're way too vague. Instead of saying, I want to lose 25 pounds, people say, I want to lose weight in 2021. Or I want to have the best year of business ever. What does that look like? Does that look like X amount of clients a month, so much revenue each quarter? What does that look like? And I will make a really, really important note about goals. Once again, to go back to 2020, obviously what we thought was going to happen didn't happen. So a lot of people who, even the best goal planners, they have this strategy for 2020 and things kept changing. So what I definitely recommend that you do is to have an overall goal for the year, but when it comes down to getting really, really into the nitty gritty of it, maybe just plan like by quarter. So if you say next year I want to make 150,000 in my business. Okay, well, if 150,000, I don't know why I use that number because now I have to do math, but you divide that by 4 and you're like, that means that I need to make this much in quarter 1. How am I going to do that? And what does that look like? What are the what we call process goals in the industry that I work in? What are the little things that I have to do over time to make that, to get to that outcome? So yeah, just get super, super clear. So even if you already like write your goals down or whatever, reread them and see if they are really clear, if there's any room for questioning. Because if you say, I want to lose weight in 2021, the universe could have you lose 2 ounces and technically you lost weight. So you want to get super, super clear on the energetic level and on the mental level, because that's going to only help your progress so much more. Number 2, move more. Once again, like if you've coached with me, you know that I'm all about having the occasional dance party, #Grey's Anatomy, having just random moments of movement and staying active. And this doesn't even necessarily have to be a health thing where you're like, I'm going to run a 5K this year. No, just actually getting up and moving, going on walks, walking around the apartment, depending on where you live, if that's what works for you, just moving more and getting more into your body. So often we sit at our desk all day and we're just working and working, and then we're in pain and we're having trouble sleeping. And it's because like our minds are exhausting, but our bodies are like, I didn't do anything today. So just find ways to move and find ways that you enjoy, that actually light you up. So if it's something like, oh, I love to dance, then maybe take Zumba. Oh, you know what? I really love to go on long walks and listen to audiobooks or true crime podcasts. That's what I do when I go walk. Just find ways to incorporate some movement into every day. And it doesn't have to be like, oh, I don't have time to do an hour. Okay, well then just set an alarm for 5 minutes and walk around the coffee table. Just get your body moving. I think that I'm pretty sure that before I have mentioned that sometimes when I'm really stuck on something or really stressed out or frustrated with a project, I'll just get up and like go on a walk or play a Lizzo song and just dance for a little bit. And then I can come back. I'm a little bit more grounded and I'm ready to take on whatever it is that is, you know, keeping me stuck. Number 3, sleep more. I don't have to tell y'all how important sleep is. It's restorative. It gives your body a chance to rest. It lets all of the things that need to happen. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. I just have watched 17 seasons of Grey's Anatomy as I shift in my chair. But just find ways to sleep more. And if you really are looking at your schedule, no matter how busy you are, chances are you are putting things over your sleep and your well-being physically. So it may be that, oh, I just can't unwind without watching some TV for an hour. And it's like, okay, is that true or is that a story that you've created that you're stuck in? So now you could finish work at 11 p.m. and you still have to watch an hour of TV. I was in a launch day these past 2 days, and which is basically doing everything for a client that you would do in the launch process over like maybe 2 or 3 months and doing those in 2 days. So yesterday, things didn't go according to plan. So I basically was on the computer until almost 11 p.m. I am one of those people who typically does like watch an episode of something before I go to bed. For me, it's usually American Dad. And I put it on after I got out of the shower and I was like, I'm so tired. Why am I staying awake to watch this episode I've seen I don't even know how many times? So what I did was just put on a meditation, close my eyes, and let myself go to sleep. If you feel like you do need something to help you unwind or distract you, detach you from the day a little bit so that you can get in a restful state, I definitely recommend audiobooks. I know a lot of people like to read before bed and that works for them. And if it does work for you, perfect. But if it's like, oh, even your eyes are tired, I love to put on my audiobook, set the timer to maybe like the end of the chapter or a certain amount of time so I can listen to it. I don't miss anything. As far as if it's a story or something or even instructions in the book, I like can hear so much and I know, okay, I'm probably going to be falling asleep by then. So I like to like play that or play a YouTube meditation. And that way I'm not using my eyes. I'm just listening to it. I'm focused on that versus whatever happened during the day that can keep me anxious or keep me awake. Um, there's just little things that you can do to find more time for sleep. We are so used to being like, well, I have to do this and I have to do that. And I need to wake up and do sun salutations and meditate for 2 hours. And it's like, you really don't. Look and see what you can cut out of your day to just maybe get an extra 30 minutes and then build from there. I know it's like, oh, there's not enough hours in the day. And I actually caught myself saying that yesterday. And the truth of the matter is, everyone has the same amount of hours. It's how you choose to spend them. It's like with money, if we both have X amount of money and I decide to buy a house, but you decide to buy a sports car, it's not that I'm better than you. It's that I decided that's what my priority was. So you just really have to look to see what your priorities are and what you're putting above sleep. And then also remember the effects that not getting the right sleep can have on your body, your mind, your mood, let's be honest. So yeah, definitely get more sleep in 2021. Okay, so number 4 is to tap into spirit. Now, this could mean different things for different people, but when I say tap into spirit, I mean tap into what you believe in, tap into yourself, your inner knowing, your inner wisdom. I think so often we do things because we feel like we should or because that's what everyone else is doing, but to actually just allow yourself to check in and see what feels good for you and what is the right thing for you, and then to also look for signs, look for guidance. I always like sometimes like you just feel things and you have this initial reaction and you're being reactive, but instead of like having the reaction to whatever the stimulus is or whatever the situation is, just taking a moment, taking a breath, maybe closing your eyes and just asking yourself, okay, what do I want to do here? What is the opportunity? What is the challenge? what are the solutions? So really just finding ways to constantly be in contact with that version of you. And that may look like prayer, that may look like meditation, that may look like visualization, that may look like journaling. I am actually a really big fan of journaling, just getting everything out. Sometimes I'm like, I have a lot to say. I don't feel like cramping my hand up that way. So I will just like put the recorder on my phone and just talk through whatever it is that I'm working through. Another great way to do that is obviously also therapy. You talk through things, you undiscover things, and you just work through things. So just find ways daily to be really, really connected with yourself in the universe. And that can just be like taking 5 minutes in the morning to just like breathe into your inner being and what you want and how you feel about things. And also just allowing yourself to process emotions. So often we bypass as a society, and then we also bypass for ourselves. We feel like, oh, this is a gross feeling. I shouldn't be feeling it. Let me distract myself. I get that. I totally get that. But sometimes what you really need to do is just let yourself have those gross feelings and then examine what exactly is the cause. You may think, oh, so and so said this to me and I'm upset about it. This is why I'm upset right now. But it's like, is that why you're upset? Are you upset because they reminded you of something your mom always does? Because that happened to me recently. I was really upset with a friend and then I realized I'm not even upset with her. I'm upset because it triggered me because it reminded me of something that my mom does. Um, so yeah, just taking those times to really explore and sit with things and allow yourself to just connect to your inner knowing and your true self. Because when we're all go, 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 we don't allow ourselves to do that a lot. So try to make that a priority in 2021. Number 5, get help. No, I don't mean a therapist, but I mean, if that's what you feel inclined to do, I totally support. But when I say get help, I mean get help on the things you want to accomplish, get help on the things that are hard for you, get help on the things that you just need support with. And this could be asking a friend for help, this could be hiring a coach, this could be taking a class. Just get like be open to get help. I know me personally, I very much do subscribe to that. I'm a strong Black woman. I don't need nobody mentality, and the fact that I do like to be very independent, and that's how I was raised. But I am aware that sometimes I can't do it all by myself, and that is okay. And it is okay to ask for help. It's okay to have someone assist you. It's okay to learn from other people's mistakes so you don't have to make them. So look at the areas that maybe you're trying to take on everything by yourself and see where you can take some of that load off of your shoulders. It could also look like hiring someone for your team. So yeah, just be open to getting help and collaborating. I know that it can be really scary, especially if you're a business owner, to depend on someone else to do certain things, but it is well worth it. And once you find the right person, it's completely game changing.
Number 6 on the list, we are halfway there, is to schedule regular check ins with yourself. I've talked about this before, but always like different, think of the different touch points you want to have with yourself. Like if you've made your goals from number 1 and you're wanting to see how you're doing, like go ahead and decide, okay, this is a 3-month goal. So at 3 weeks, I'm going to check in. And then at 6 weeks, I'm going to check in, and so on and so on. And then also outside of goals, just the same way that I say connect with spirit, I'm saying take time, like plan time to actually check in with yourself to see how you're doing. And that could look like journaling. That could look like having a day where you have therapy, or you maybe go through some rituals or exercises that help you feel really, really connected to yourself. And so you can identify yourself. Because if you're doing, I'm sorry, I said that really fast. If you're doing the regular like connection with the universe, then taking it a step deeper. So let's say you do 5 minutes of meditation a day, maybe taking the time to really just block out like 2 hours and to journal for maybe, I'm sorry, to meditate for maybe 30, and then just free write for a while. And don't feel like you need to stop until that timer goes off, just so whatever comes out, but also don't feel like you need to push if you only have like 2 pages in you. So just really checking in with how you're feeling and the way that situations are going for you, and even your relationships with other people. Is it something you want to continue? Are you nurturing it? Do you need to nurture it more? Are you watering those flowers or are you dehydrating them? So, yeah, just regularly check in with yourself. Once again, that's something that we don't do enough. We're all go, 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 go. So, just give yourself that space to live your life in a way that feels good to you.
Next up is probably one of my favorite things on the list because this is the second year that I have done it and it's so freaking awesome. And that is to plan for downtime. Um, I like a lot of times what we do is we say, oh, I'm not going to plan anything unless I have plans, or I know for sure I'm going to be off for Thanksgiving and Christmas and yada yada yada. But we don't actually just plan days to like take care of ourselves. So last year at the end of the year, and actually yesterday, I sat down, I looked at the calendar, and I just picked random days that I was going to be completely offline from all clients and customers, and to take care of myself. And sometimes those weekends or those long weekends would turn into like, oh, I'm gonna go see the family, or oh, I'm just gonna like binge this show on Netflix, whatever it may be. But having those regular, just that downtime and having it planned out, like literally, once I sat down, I did it on a sticky note. I looked at it at each month, and I'm like, okay, and like these are when I want to be off for this day. Then I added it to my wall calendar, like this the big one that you can reuse each year. I wrote it in on those. I typed it up. I sent it to all the clients that I work with, and I also um, I added it to any calendars that I'm on for like other people, and I added it to my personal calendar. And then I took the sticky note and I sticked it up here with all of my other sticky notes so that I could look at those, because I know this past year so often I would be like, oh, I'm tired. Like, oh, I just want to break. And I'd be like, oh, that's right. I'm taking the 18th off. Like that's next week. I'll be good. So just giving like scheduling that, it's exciting and it gives you something to look forward to, because what happens is a lot of times we work and we work and we work and we don't plan time off because we don't have anything to plan time off for. And then we hit burnout and then we're like, oh my God, I need a day off. And we either, and in most cases, we can either like go ahead and schedule like a weekend or a couple of days off or a long weekend off. But sometimes it's like, oh, I'm in the weeds. But when you plan ahead, you can already like book your schedule so that you know, like, no, I'm not taking any calls that day. I'm not taking any launches that day, whatever it is. I'm not doing it on this day because I'm off. Versus if you don't have those times on your schedule, and obviously, like, my schedule fills up really, really fast. I was trying to make a meeting with someone in January and I was like, why do I have all this stuff on my calendar already? And that's a blessing, means business, means money coming in. But if I hadn't already decided like what days that I want off and I'm feeling burned out, it's going to be even harder for me to find that time off because I hadn't already thought about it. Obviously, there will be things that come up and maybe you will need to shift one of those days, or maybe you will need one sooner than you thought. But this is a really good way to lay the groundwork. And if you are still on a 9 to 5, I totally recommend doing this, because I know when I was working a 9 to 5, I would catch myself getting caught up in the whole, I don't have a reason to take a day off. And then I wouldn't. And then I'd either lose those days or they'd roll over. And then I would leave the job before I ever got to use them. So, yes, schedule some downtime, some damn time, schedule some damn downtime in 2021.
Number 8, practice gratitude. Okay, I know everyone says that, but it's all about getting in a good vibration. And even if you don't believe in the law of attraction, like when you focus on good things, you just feel better. Yes, some things are going to suck. Some things you don't want to think about or talk about. Some things you can't avoid or help but think about or talk about. But just taking some time to be appreciative of things. And this isn't something that you have to like put a lot of effort into. It can just be when you're eating your meal and you're like, oh, I'm so grateful for this water burger. Or sometimes I'll be pouring running water and I'll be getting water from the sink and I'm like, oh, I'm so grateful that I have running water. And like there's little things that we take for granted that we've always had that not everyone always has. And I remember maybe about a year ago or so, the water in my apartment just stopped working for a night. Like, I don't know what they were doing. I think there was a spill or a pipe burst. I don't know. But I went to work out and I was like, oh, I can't shower. Like, I don't have enough water in my Brita pitcher to like get through the day. And it was such a pain in the ass. And imagine living life like that every day. So every so often, I just say, I'm thankful for running water. Even when I am working and I'm stressed out, I'm thankful for my new computer. So just finding ways to practice more gratitude. One thing that I used to do that I plan to start doing again in 2021 is each day I would just take some time to write 5 things I was grateful for on that day. And sometimes it would be things as small as, or not even, because I couldn't even call it small, but things as simple as running water. Or I'd be grateful for a certain person and maybe something they said to me. I'd be grateful for what I had for dinner because it was bomb, or I was grateful for the invention of wine, whatever it is, and just taking a moment to think, like, yeah, something may be bad, but there are so many good things in the world. So just allowing yourself to have that light. And if you believe in the law of attraction, then you are vibrating at a place from gratitude. You're not thinking about what you're lacking or what isn't working, but you're thinking about all the things that you are grateful for. And that energy is so huge in getting more of what you want. So, yes, practice gratitude.
Number 9, give back. One of the best choices I made this year was to start volunteering with the crisis text line. Now, giving back can look like all kinds of things. If you don't have the time to like actually physically volunteer, be it online or in person, then you can donate your clothes to the poor. Donate um, things you're no longer using. An older laptop, maybe download it, find a program that you can donate it to that refurbishes them and gives them to underprivileged students who don't have computers at home, but we are obviously in a time of virtual learning, so it may be helpful. Um, Even with your programs, if you want to do a scholarship after every so often, it's just we're putting more goodwill in the world. So do your part, no matter how big or small you feel like it is. Find a way this year that you can give back. I also like there are things that you can donate to on a recurring basis. You can donate as little as like $5 a month to some of these causes, and it can just come out of your account automatically. And when you think of like maybe how much you may spend on coffee or fast food, like that's literally probably half of a meal out. If you can just make that small little donation, it does make a difference. So I can share in the show notes some of my favorite causes. If it either like so if you want to donate money or if you want to get involved, I do believe that the crisis text line is actually taking volunteers right now. They had shut it down for a while, but we have been so busy in 2020, especially with the election and with COVID, that yeah, we could use the support on those lines. But just find a way that feels good to you to give back. Don't just give back because you feel like you should. Give back to something that is actually really, really important to you. And as most of you probably know, mental health is very, very important to me. So the 2 causes that I support each month are mental health organizations, but there are so many more. And the more you give back, again, to get back in a little bit of the woo, that it's the law of attraction. Like you're just putting wonderful energy out there. So find a way to give back this year. And the 10th and final thing is to get systems in place. I had to say it. Sorry, guys. Project manager by heart. Get systems in place. And this can be super, super daunting if you let it, or you can do it in a fun, approachable way. Maybe each month you could look at one aspect of your life or your business and think of how you can make it better and put it on auto repeat. So if you produce a podcast, for example, how can you streamline that process a little bit more so that it's easier? And then maybe the next month you feel like you are always like wasting time at the grocery store. Okay, we'll look into a delivery service and save that time. Hey, that's another hour you could possibly be sleeping. Just find one thing each month that you can improve on. And it can be in any area of life. I definitely recommend this for business. In the ideal world, you would have a month or a full week to sit down and review your systems. But I know that's not always realistic. So just adding one thing each month, one new system each month, is going to have long-term effects. And if you're only doing 12 business systems, then you're slowly adding time. You're slowly like, okay, I like by doing the system in January, I've saved about 2 hours a week in my business. Okay, and then doing the system in February, I'm saving another hour in my business. So that's actually going to open up time for you to create more than one system a month. Another option is to hire some sort of a consultant to come and help you identify what that system would look like, or a project manager, online business manager to actually implement that system for you. So it's just plug and play for you. So definitely try to find ways that you can improve systems. On the personal side, if one of your goals is weight loss, you can decide what that process looks like and how you can make that easy and more achievable. There are so many ways that you can do things, and you don't have to do them the hardest way, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel every time you do the same thing. So I am going to go ahead and wrap this up. Just to recap, the 10 things are: get really clear on your goals, move more, sleep more, tap into spirit, get help, schedule regular check-ins with yourself, plan for some damn downtime, practice gratitude, give back, and set up systems. I want to thank you all for sticking with me through 2020. And I wish you all a very, very happy holiday season and a wonderful new year. All right, I will catch you next time.
This has been Creative Crushing Anxiety. For more podcast episodes, visit diadarling.com. Did you enjoy this episode? Then go ahead and leave a review on iTunes. You can also subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play. Catch you next time.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Creative Crushing blah 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 blah.